the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull, Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil Masters of the Universe.
At the far end of the universe, there is a planet ruled by a being of utter evil. And there is only one man who dares challenge him. They are locked in a battle to the death. A battle that will take them across the heavens.
Stop him!
A battle that will finally be fought.
I want them hunted down and brought to me!
Across the face.
Police! Nobody move!
Of Earth.
I think I'm gonna need some backup.
Can you show us the way?
Of course. No!
Somebody help me!
From a distant galaxy, they have come to Earth. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. Frank Langella as Skeletor. Only they have the powers to be Masters of the Universe. Live the adventure.
Hello and welcome to the 40th episode of the M-Wire Movie Week in Review. Today we're going to be discussing Masters of the Universe, the movie, or the motion picture, or whatever the hell it's called under the subtitle of it. I'm your host, DFG on Mike, and I'm joined with Kevin Thompson from Tooncast and BehindTheVoiceActors.com. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
I am pretty good.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
I've actually been doing a lot of work at my house. Now that it's somewhat nicer, I borrowed this power washer thing from my aunt and uncle, which I've never used a power washer before, and oh my god, those things are freaking amazing. I didn't even realize my deck was the color that it is, but I power washed my whole deck and my sidewalk in the front of my house, so I just have the back and the side to go. But other than that, not a whole lot. I haven't been on a computer a lot lately. I've been out of town and doing this or that, so kind of out of touch with a lot of things. I got on for a few hours yesterday and added some stuff to BehindTheVoiceActors.com. I added all the Alvin and the Chipmunks, the cartoon, the Alvin Show cartoon, the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies, and I don't know what else I did, but not a lot. Getting ready to do some Alvin voice compares.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm about the same. I haven't really been doing too much, just the podcasting thing. Gotta upgrade the computer, get more memory for it or whatever. That's gonna cost an arm and a leg, and
yeah,
So
I hear you. I did forget. I actually made a couple purchases. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I bought the Clone Wars animated movie. And I bought the He-Man, whatever it was, 2002 or 2003 cartoon series.
Yeah.
It was only like $20 for the entire series, so I bought that. I haven't watched it yet, but I have some stuff I have to watch here coming up whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, I want to buy, coming up next week on May 4th, X-Men Volume 5 is coming out, which is the 5th season of the 90s cartoon, and Iron Man, the 94 Marvel cartoon, the complete series is coming out for that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to buy them. If anybody wants to donate them, email me at tfgunmike@gmail.com. It's just been about the usual things. Still no responses from any of the feelers I put out for new interviews as far as voice actors go. But, hey, whatever. So this show has hit 40 episodes, and I actually can't believe we've hit 40 episodes already. And we're going to be kicking it off with what was originally supposed to be episode 20, which is Masters of the Universe.
Yay.
Which is a 1987 science fiction film based on the toy line by the same name. The movie stars Dolph Lundgren as He-Man and Frank Langella as Skeletor. Other actors include John Cypher as Man-at-Arms, Chelsea Field as Teela, and Billy Barty as Gwildor, the short Themorian inventor/locksmith. It also has Meg Foster as Evelyn, which, whatever. The film was released in the United States on August 7th, 1987, after popularity of the toy line and cartoon had peaked. Oh, when did you first see this?
I saw this in theater. I don't remember if it was a birthday party or what it was, but I remember specifically this was one of the first movies I can remember going and seeing it. It wasn't the first movie I saw in a theater, but it's one of the first ones I can remember. So, I didn't go to see a lot of movies when I was young. We didn't have a ton of money, so.
Yeah.
But I do remember. So I'm thinking this was probably one of my friends' birthday parties where he invited a bunch of people over and they took us out to a movie or something. But I remember seeing it in the theater, and then after that, I think I saw it once. I don't know if it was on TV or VHS or something. And then actually about a year, actually probably more close to 2 years or so ago, some people I hang out with, they get together every Sunday night. Well, they used to. They get together every Sunday night, and they call it Crappy Movie Night. And usually what they would watch is they would pick up one of those $1 Walmart movies. The only rule was basically it had to be either fantasy or sci-fi. And, it was kind of like Mystery Science or theater or whatever. We would just watch it and make fun of it and have a good time and stay up until, 3 o'clock in the morning. But one of the weeks we watched Masters of the Universe as our Crappy Movie Night. So I had seen it about two or so years ago, and then I just watched it again today. So
yeah, I had been wanting it. When I originally thought it was already on VHS, and I didn't go to the theater to see it. I don't know why, I just didn't. And I've been looking for the DVD for a number of years now, and I don't know, earlier last year I finally just said screw it, and I think I got it off Amazon for like $6.
That's what I got it off of too.
Yeah. I have serious issues with this film.
I can tell.
serious issues. First of all,
I don't get it.
What do you mean you don't get it?
This is the type of movie that I wouldn't like, but I do.
Well, alright. They capitalized on the toy line in the 80s cartoon. Obviously, this came out in 87. The cartoon, I think, was already done. Yeah, He-Man and both She-Ra were done by then. But, they still wanted to make money off of it, and I'm sure Mattel gave the go-ahead, and I'm sure once I start getting into the plot and the information that I have on the script here, which I forgot to send to you. Oh, well.
That's okay.
I've been having computer issues my mom has been having computer issues, and yeah, I've been dealing with that, and that's kind of been a little bit stressful. Anyway, what the hell was I? Oh yeah, so they wanted to capitalize on the fame of He-Man, and I just think they fucking dropped the ball. I think there's only maybe, I don't know, it's just, I like the He-Man character in the film. I love the Skeletor character. I love the fact they got Frank Langella to do it. The effects and the makeup on Skeletor were awesome. Main issue with Evelyn, she's not a sorceress. Well, she is and she isn't. I mean, she morphs into the mother to trick Julie, but I mean, really, other than that, what else does she do in this film for sorcery? I mean, there's nothing that she does whatsoever. I mean, Skeletor, you have him coming over to the sorceress's cage and opening his fist and sucking the life out of her and then closing his fist. You've got him at the end with the giant electrodes coming out of his morphed, yellow gold body.
You got him when he kills one of his guys, kind of just sends lightning bolts out of his fingers or whatever.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, when I just finished watching this before we started the record. We're recording this Thursday night. It'll be up Saturday morning of this week, and I'm drawing so many lines between this, Star Wars, and Spaceballs.
Yeah.
When he zapped the guy that failed, the first thing I thought of was Darth Helmet.
God.
And lowering the Schwartz, and they're all covering up their balls in Spaceballs. The Star Wars references. Oh my God. There's
actually
every single laser beam, I guarantee you, they've used in the Star Wars film that was used in this.
Well, and actually that would make sense. I got to preface this with saying that because I had seen it so many times and I remembered it. Basically, I remember what happened in the movie, so I didn't necessarily need to concentrate on the actual movie this time. I watched it with the commentary on.
Oh God, I did that a while ago.
I usually like watching movies with the commentaries on because the commentaries are usually kind of insightful and give you some behind-the-scenes stuff. I will tell everybody out there right now, never watch this movie with the commentary on. It's with the director of the show. And
Gary Goddard, yeah.
Yeah, and he is by far the worst commentary person I have ever heard in my life. He goes through, and I'm getting sidetracked a little bit, but he basically goes through the entire movie, and all he talks about over and over, and he repeats himself tons and tons, but all he talks about is lighting and cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And while that might be cool for people that are into that type of stuff, that usually means nothing for the average everyday fan. Yep. I mean, he gave very few actual behind-the-scenes details that were worth it, but one of the things that I did pick up on is he said his visual effects guy was actually from Lucas Films. So his main guy in charge of all the visual effects, lasers, etc., was actually straight from George Lucas and his company. So that kind of makes sense that you have a lot of Star Wars kind of connections.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of throwing that out there. But he does mention some other things. He does try to reference a lot of stuff. He has Lord of the Rings references. He has a lot of Wizard of Oz references.
Wizard of the Oz.
Wizard of the Oz. And as well as obviously your Star Wars and Star Trek. You seem like a kind of a Star Trek fan too. So
I swear to God, if you painted Gwildor green and shaved the fucking beard, it would be Yoda.
Yeah.
A less competent Yoda.
He did say that Gwildor was the one character that he got the most heat for. He said, most diehard fans were pissed off because there was no Orko, but he basically said that at the time to try to do an Orko would have been impossible.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. I'm not saying that Orko should have been in the film at all.
No, I agree with it, too.
I mean, at the time, it's 1987, people. Star Wars, Superman, and, hell, we didn't even get Batman yet till 2 years later, but Star Wars and Superman were pretty much the only big-budget, sci-fi, superhero, action, fantasy films that we had to go off of. And that's another thing. Did you watch... You watched it without the commentary for the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the fucking Superman music. It is the fucking Superman theme. I looked at the credits for the composer. I loved what Bill Conti did with the Thomas Crown Affair, the 1996 or 1999 remake of Thomas Crown with Brosnan and Russo. Okay, I love Bill Conti's score of that. He ripped off, was it John Williams that did Superman? I know he's done Star Wars, but it was somebody. It might have been John Powell. Oh God, I don't know, but I swear to God that beginning few notes. Huh?
I didn't pick up on that, but that's interesting.
The beginning few notes, if you go back and you watch the very beginning of the film when they're going through the credits sequence, the opening credit sequence, the music is the Superman theme, and it pretty much goes the same way as the Superman credits go, with the little universe thingy in the background that's kind of like a galaxy thing, and then the titles coming through a little bit. God. Jesus
I will say I didn't realize that Gwildor was being played by a 60-plus-year-old man, though.
Yeah, Billy Barty.
I didn't realize he was that old when he did that.
Mm.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I guess he could barely, he had a limp in his step, so they had to have a couple different, I think they had 2 different stunt doubles help him at different times, but going back to something you were saying earlier, you're talking about, Mattel capitalizing on basically the toy line and the cartoon and trying to, whether it was trying to make the little last bit of money they could using the franchise, or whether it was an attempt to revitalize it to hope that they could maybe, redo the cartoon or put another group of toys out. I can't obviously speak to that. But what surprises me is if they were doing that, and it says in the commentary that they had to approve everything that the movie did, basically. So, they were behind the scenes and they had to basically sign off on everything. And so it surprises me if they had that kind of power and that kind of position to sign off on everything, and they were trying to revitalize maybe the toy line of the cartoon, why they let so many characters look nothing like the toys of the cartoon.
Oh, we'll get to that.
So that kind of surprises me a little bit.
We'll still get to that. Basic plot rundown here is that Skeletor has taken over Grayskull. He's captured the Sorceress. He's pretty much won. They find Skeletor, He-Man and Teela and Man-at-Arms find Skeletor's troops hauling off this Yoda wannabe, and that's what I will be calling him for the rest of this episode. This Yoda wannabe off, and they save him, and says something about a cosmic key, and this, that, and the other thing, and everything else. They end up getting into the castle, getting into a fight. They have to get out of there, so he randomly hits keys and whatever else on the musical thing on the cosmic key, and they get sent to Earth. My one problem with this, like you were saying a second ago about them not really including any of the other characters. Characters, He-Man's Secret... that was the other thing. Where the fuck is Prince Adam?
Yeah.
I mean, most significant of the differences between the cartoons, the Mattel mini-comics, and the film, Prince Adam, He-Man's secret identity, is never depicted or even mentioned, despite being a major theme of the cartoon and comics. It should be noted, however, that Prince Adam also did not exist in the pre-filmation mini-comics. Similarly, there are no references to Orko, King Randor, Queen Marlena, Trapjaw, Merman, or any of the other major characters known from the series. Furthermore, Skeletor is depicted as having a large army of black armored soldiers at his command. This allows him to conquer Eternia primarily due to his military prowess rather than via elaborate mystical plans as his modus operandi in the other depictions. In addition, He-Man uses laser guns in some scenes, which he never does in the Filmation animated series. Now, the reason why I brought that up now when I was mentioning that they got transported to Earth, I wish they would have gone back, watched the fucking cartoon, caught on to the fact that Marlena is from Earth,
yeah,
and made some sort of something there.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my god.
There's a lot of things, like, I realize that this is 1987. I realize that there's limitations budget-wise. There's limitations visual effects-wise, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can blame a lot of stuff on that, but it still doesn't change. One of the things I like the least about this movie is that they went to Earth. Now, I realize they had to because they didn't have the budget to create an entire movie based on this mythical world of Eternia and everything that would have came with it, plant life and creatures and et cetera, et cetera. So they had, to make it within the budget, they're like, oh, we'll just bring it to Earth and that way everything's a lot easier. I get it. I don't like it. I don't have to like it, even if I do understand it. But I don't know. There's just so many things that you can kind of write off to. Okay, you can't have Orko, so we have to accept Gwildor because of your limitations. We have to accept that you went to Earth, blah, 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 blah. But, you mentioned the Prince Adam thing, and the funny thing about that is, at least for me, is I don't know if I've had this same reaction other times I've watched it, but this last time when I watched it, I actually completely forgot about Prince Adam and completely forgot that they hadn't shown him in the movie until towards the end, He-Man lifts up his sword and says, by the power of Grayskull, or I have the power, whatever he says in the movie. I don't think he uses the exact line from the cartoon, but it's pretty close. And then
no, he uses the I have the power line. I don't think he uses by the power of Grayskull.
Right. And it was up until that point that I had completely forgot that Prince Adam hadn't been shown, and then he did that, and I'm like, wait a second. He's already He-Man.
Well, he was re-energizing himself.
Yeah, so I realized they did that for the fans so you could have this iconic quote or line or whatever, but I'm like, that was kind of pointless. He was already He-Man.
That was a poor fan service deal. Speaking of which, the other thing that is not in this movie whatsoever is Cringer or Battle Cat.
Yeah, that would have been cool. And impossible.
By 1987 standards, yeah, I know.
Then he even talked about that stupid cow that was at the beginning, how hard it was. It took like an hour just to get the scene with a cow in it because they couldn't get the cow to do what they wanted. But I forgot one thing. I gotta go back and track a second. You had mentioned basically what I'm gonna call the foot soldiers, Skeletor's black stormtroopers, or whatever you want to call them. Like, I have a problem with them being in it, but at the same time, it goes back to the good old thing. Like, I can realize that they had to do that because if you wanted as much action as they had in the movie, all the main characters would have been dead, or we would have had a bunch of people getting hit with stuff that didn't hurt them. So I guess bringing the foot soldiers in is always a good idea, just so you can kill people off that don't matter. But
right,
it just still kind of strikes you weird after if you're a kid watching the cartoon and then all of a sudden you go to this movie, you're like, okay, I get that some of the people look different, but where the hell did all these guys come from?
Yeah. So then you have Julie and Kevin, and you have this cop who is pretty much Strickland from Back to the Future, except he's a cop.
Exactly.
You have them. They get a hold of the cosmic key. They gotta go back to Eternia. They gotta do this. They gotta do that. Julie's parents had already been killed in some plane crash or whatever. And by the end of the movie, Skeletor is defeated. And they go back, and Gwildor's like, oh, well, I can send you back in time, whenever, or into the future, or whatever. And right at the last minute, Julie's like, oh, wait, no, send us back, click, and just went through the portal. And then,
Yeah, I disagree, and I'm following you.
And as the film closes, we find out that Gwildor did, in fact, send her back before parents caught the plane to stop them. She and Kevin meet up in the street, and they hold the orb, or, the ball of Eternia, or whatever the hell it's called, in their hands, and you see it, fade into Grayskull. And, of course, the I have the power line, and then, end credits. In the original draft of the script by David Odell, was reviewed in episode 3 of the He-Man and She-Ra podcast. Well, I'm going to have to look that show up, called Masters Cast.
I've actually watched that. I've listened to that a couple times.
Is it any good?
It's all right.
Okay. The script revealed that the movie intended to be more faithful to the original source material. The original draft included more time spent on Eternia, Snake Mountain, Beastman had a speaking role, and even revealed that He-Man's mother was originally from Earth, thus linking the two planets. Now see, what the hell? Why the fuck didn't they do that in the first fucking place, you fucking morons?
Wow. Remember, folks, the podcast is explicit.
Good thing, huh? Comparisons with Jack Kirby's Fourth World. Comic book writer / artist John Byrne once compared the film to Jack Kirby's comic book meta-series Fourth World, stating in Comic Shop News number 497, the best New Gods movie is Masters of the Universe. I even corresponded with the director who told me this was his intent, and then he had to get Jack Kirby to do the production designs, but the studio nixed it. Check it out. It requires some bending on an occasional sex change. Metron becomes an ugly dwarf, and Highfather becomes the sorceress. But it's an amazingly close analog. Otherwise, Frank Langella's Skeletor is a dandy dark side. God damn it. Director Gary Goddard clarified this in a letter appearing in John Byrne's Next Men number 26, in which he stated, as the director of Masters of the Universe, it was a pleasure to see that someone got it. Your comparison of the film to Kirby's New Gods was not far off. In fact, the storyline was greatly inspired by the classic Fantastic Four / Doctor Doom epics. The New Gods, in a bit of Thor thrown in here, intended the film to be a motion picture comic book, although it was a tough proposition to sell to the studio at the time. Comics are just for kids, they thought. And they would not allow me to hire Jack Kirby, who I desperately wanted to be the conceptual artist for the picture. I grew up with Kirby's comics. I've still got all my Marvels from the first issue of Fantastic Four and Spider-Man through the time Kirby left, and I had great pleasure meeting him when he first moved to California. Since that time, I enjoyed the friendship of Jack and Roz, and was lucky enough to spend many hours with Jack, hearing how he created this character and that one, and why villain has to be even more powerful than a hero, and on and on. Jack was a great communicator, and listening to him was always an education. You might be interested to know that I tried to dedicate Masters of the Universe to Jack Kirby in the closing credits, but the studio took the credit. No disrespect to Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was an amazing comic book person. I believe he was a writer and an artist. The reason why I say comic book person is because I don't want to get, hate mail saying, oh, well, he was this or oh, he was that. I'm just generalizing here. No disrespect to him, but Jesus fucking Christ, if you're going to have a movie that says Masters of the Universe, the motion picture, have He-Man, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, Skeletor, Evil-Lyn, all these people from the fucking cartoon and the Mattel toy line, don't base it off of the New Gods.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Just kill me now.
Yeah. Quick question for you. Did you watch past all the credits?
No. Not this time. I don't remember why. What's there?
Just after all the credits, they go back to the movie for a quick scene, and they show Skeletor coming up out of the whatever ooze fire, whatever, and he says something like "I'll be back" or something like that. It's kind of a nice little thing at the end, even though they never did a sequel.
Still, whatever.
So we gotta talk a little bit. I guess I don't have the script in front of me, so I might be going off, but we should talk about some of these characters that are made up. So
Krag or Krog or whatever the fuck his name is, the rip-off of whatever.
We had for basically the characters that are made up that didn't exist before this. We already talked about Gwildor a little bit. Then you got Karg, who's the white-haired, I don't know what you want to call him. And then you have Sauron.
Shit.
What's that?
The white-haired piece of shit.
And then you have Sauron, who is the lizard mechanical thing that gets killed by Skeletor. And then you have Blade, who has swords and stuff like that all over his body. Out of Gwildor, Sauron, Karg, and Blade, are there any that you like?
Fuck no.
Ouch. I actually, even as a kid watching this, even though they weren't in He-Man, I always have really liked the Blade character. I don't know why, but I just always thought he was cool as a kid. I liked all the swords and the knives and the daggers and the everything everywhere, and I kind of thought he was cool, but I didn't really care for any of the other ones. card was too ridiculous looking with it. It looked like, you know what it looked like? It looked like the freaking witch, a cross between the witch from Robin Hood with Kevin Costner and the little guys in Princess of Billy Crystal and Princess Bride. That's what it looks like. Looks like a cross between those two.
Just fucking shoot me now.
What?
These fucking made-up characters. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get some of them, but this is one of my cardinal rules that I hate when films break it, is when you take a cartoon that has, and I understand. Okay, I get it. Orko's impossible. Maybe Battle Cat's impossible.
I don't disagree with it. That was impossible whatsoever. But making up fucking characters like the ones they made up.
And what I'm saying is, if you could pull off, even though I don't necessarily agree with his whole design, but if you could bring in Beastman, then there's no reason you couldn't have found some of the other guys in the show to bring in here. Fine, have somebody else be Orko, whatever. I can stomach that one if that's the only character. And I can stomach the foot soldiers, maybe. But you don't need to make up characters if you have a plethora of characters to choose from. I get that some of the characters in He-Man might have been impossible to bring in. That's fine. There was other ones that you could have. You know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't make sense to bring Merman in because you have no scene that has to do with water. Fine. There's other bad guys. You can bring in Trapjaw.
Yeah.
Why couldn't Trapjaw have been made? Somebody tell me why Trapjaw could not have been made in 1987.
You could have brought in Triclops. You could have brought in, I don't know if they could do Stratos, but...
Triclops would have been easy. Trapjaw would have been easy. You take Sauron, Karg, and Blade out. You bring in Trapjaw, Triclops, and find one more bad guy, and you're good. Even if you don't have to... they had enough good guys. I don't think they needed Stratos, even though he was one of my favorite characters, because it would have been hard for him to fly around and stuff. You didn't necessarily need any other good guys. You had Man-at-Arms, you had Tila, you had the Sorceress, you had He-Man.
What about Ram Man? Everybody needs Ram Man.
But I'm saying in the story you have 4 or 5 good guys, so you wouldn't have had to have more. Even
right.
though I think those guys it would have been possible to bring some of those guys in. But there's no reason why Trapjaw and Triclops get a fucking, excuse my language, human being, put a freaking thing around his eyes that you can maneuver, and you're done, and give him a little costume. There was nothing hard about that. If you could do Blade, you could do Trapjaw.
Yeah.
So I hate that I hate it when movies do it. I hate it when Transformers does it. I hate it. I fucking hate it. And Transformers is that's a whole other story. I mean, you had 350 characters to choose from, and you had to make new ones up, dumb bastard.
Yeah. But Michael Bay continually rapes our childhood like Starscream rapes metal bugs, but,
That's just one thing I'll never forgive, and I don't get it. I don't get it if it's like a god complex from these directors that, we can't use all characters that are already in existence. I gotta have some type of stamp on this, so I'm gonna make up my own new character. Fuck that. I hate it when people do that.
Getting off topic just a little bit here, Steve and I will be recording a commentary this coming Saturday when this episode releases for Transformers, the 2007 film.
I don't want to listen to that commentary.
Yes, you do.
I don't want to listen to you rip on the movie all day.
Oh, whatever. Alright, so getting into the reaction here, with a budget of $17 million, the movie grossed $17,336,370 in the U.S., an additional combined $1.5 million in Germany and Australia. It is referred to as a flop by Variety magazine and has a 13% rotten rating at Rotten Tomatoes. Aborted attempts at sequels. Canon Films intended to create a sequel, which is indicated after the end credits, like you said before. That Skeletor in fact survives his fall. The idea was abandoned when Canon wouldn't pay for Mattel's fees, and the production used already made costumes and sets for the improvised action movie Cyborg. A new He-Man movie, directed by John Woo, was reportedly being developed, but despite many rumors circulating around the internet regarding this film's production status, the casting, and the project was never officially greenlit, the film rights to He-Man have reportedly since reverted back to Mattel.
We will have a He-Man movie.
A 2011 film. As recently as fall of 2008, there was a new feature film in development entitled Grayskull, Masters of the Universe, produced by Joel Silver and written by Justin Marks. The film would reportedly employ visual effects to a large degree and was done with 300. An alleged script has been leaked. Recently, the studio announced that Kung Fu Panda director John Stevenson will take on directing duties, probably with a new screenplay. Now, I'm going to look this up really quick to see if there's any new information on this, because when I got the original wiki information for this, for the Masters of the Universe coverage, it's been about 6-8 months since I got it. So,
I don't care what the rumors say. It's only a matter of time. You've had Transformers live-action movie. You've had G.I. Joe live-action movie. You've had other stuff, from other comical-type cartoons. You're going to have another live-action He-Man. It's just a matter of what year is it going to come out. That's all it is.
Oh, no, and I know that. But it's one of those things where, there's all this speculation on it and what's going to happen with it and who's going to be He-Man. I honestly could not stand the Russian from Rocky 4 or 5, whatever the fuck it was, as He-Man.
You didn't like Dolph Lundgren?
No, not really. His accent kind of screwed it up for me.
I thought that was perfect casting for He-Man at the time. That's one of the people I have no problems. There's 4 people I have no problems with in this movie. He-Man's one of them. I think that was perfect as far as the look. He had the blonde Adonis type guy. Obviously he didn't speak much because that actor can't really speak much. But I thought look-wise it was perfect. I thought the look of the Sorceress was good. I thought the look of Skeletor, he was usually the best character in the movie. And I think they got it right with Man-at-Arms. I thought that was, it's an easy one to do, but that one was right. I don't like how they did Eva Lynn. And Teela's interesting. Teela, I don't think they came even close to trying to represent what the cartoon was as far as Teela goes. But I will say that for once, and I don't think I've ever said this about another movie based on a cartoon, I like the movie version of Teela better than the cartoon version.
Nah.
I don't know why. I never liked Teela in the cartoon, and I liked Teela in this movie. So that's.
I don't like either version.
First time I've ever liked a movie character better than the cartoon that it was based on.
Yeah, I can't find anything on it yet. There hasn't really been much activity for.
I gotta throw this out there since we're talking about characters and stuff. I hate Courtney Cox.
This is the first film I think she ever starred in. I can't be for sure about that, but I know this is the first film that I ever saw her in.
This is her first film. It's the guy that I think it's her boyfriend in the film, his first film. I hate Courtney Cox. I hate Courtney Cox in everything. I hate Courtney Cox in TV. I hate Courtney Cox on movies. I hate Courtney Cox in this. Did you catch the scene when they went back to Eternia and Skeletor was like almost making out with Evil Lynn?
Yeah.
I hate that scene too. That was the only scene of Skeletor's I think I disliked. I'm like, why are they trying to make an intimate scene between Evil Lynn and Skeletor? They've never had a thing for each other, and that's disgusting. But I do like Skeletor, and I think they did an excellent job with the makeup and the mask. They said they were on this wolf. Maybe the only second good thing that came out of the commentary was he was talking about his debate and going back and forth of having a hard, more skull-like looking head so it was more faithful to the cartoon versus having a more like a latex, like soft thing so you could see the actor a little bit more and he could be performing, and kind of that they went for that middle ground. And I think they did do an excellent job with the whole look.
Oh, yeah. Skeletor is awesome in this. I mean, hands down, Skeletor is by far the best character. It's the best design in the entire film.
And that's the thing. They could do Skeletor. I mean, think of it. You had a cartoon that was a purplish blue skeleton, and you made that into the movie. So if you could do that, you could have done almost any other character except for flying ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things where You know, I used to covet this film. I used to just absolutely love it. And I so wanted to get, like I said before, I had been wanting to get my hands on the DVD for a number of years. And when I finally did, and I watched it like regularly, just as the film. And then I went back and I watched the commentary. The Gary Goddard or Goddard or whatever the fuck the dude's name is singly the worst commentary I've ever heard outside of the Tim Burton commentaries on the two Batman films Burton did. I cannot listen to a Tim Burton commentary. I will lose fucking brain cells over that, and I lost brain cells over listening to this idiot.
Yeah, if you need to hear that, he talked, I think I should have counted. I think it was 5,700 times where he talks about lighting and flat lighting versus theatrical lighting.
Yep.
And then I can't stand it.
Yeah, pretty much. I honestly do not think this movie stands the test of time whatsoever.
No, it doesn't.
It is so fucking dated.
Of course it's dated. But it's dated in the same way that... Oh, you can't say that. But,
no, go ahead, say it.
No,
say it.
No, I'm not saying that. But it's
say
visual effects. I think its visual effects were as good as they could be for the time. I think the effects that they used in the movie, the makeup, and stuff like that, was as good as you could get in that time. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of a couple different movies that it's like from that same time period. If you look at like the Ewok movies that were made, whatever, the Battle for Endor or the Moon over Endor, whatever the damn movie was.
Yeah.
And if you look at like the Dark Crystal and a couple movies like that, it looks effects and visually just as good as those movies do. That being said, for some reason it seems when you watch it a lot more dated than those movies.
Yeah.
At least Dark Crystal, it seems more dated to me. Dark Crystal, well, that's just a creepy movie, but anyway.
You know, I just can't. Outside of the Skeletor design, outside of them giving very, very poor fan service with the "I have the power" line, I just can't say anything good about this fucking movie.
For some reason, I like it. I think it's just nostalgia and just me remembering it.
The nostalgia for me is gone.
Nostalgia's never gone for me. Nostalgia never leaves me. But you know, it is hard to. It's not hard for me to watch, but I've never watched it with someone that it wasn't hard for them to watch. But I can watch it just fine. I mean, but you had to have grown up with He-Man. You had to have been a fan of it as a kid, and even then you still might not enjoy it. But if you didn't do those things, you sure as hell aren't going to enjoy it. Unless you just love old, crappy sci-fi fantasy movies.
And you know what? The other thing that really pisses me off, and this is more with the He-Man fandom and the more with the Masters of the Universe fandom, and the different spellings of Grayskull. Whether it's G-R-A or G-R-E. It's G-R-A, damn it. I just watched the YouTube commercial of the old Grayskull playset. On the box, it says G-R-A. It's not spelled with a fucking E.
I didn't know that was a point of contention. Seems like it'd be pretty easy to look back at the toy.
Well, it is for me. Because people just can't get shit right. Oh, God. Well, at least this Masters of the Universe episode didn't last 4 hours and 20-something minutes.
That's true. It is better than the New Adventures of He-Man cartoon.
Whoa, wait, you're saying this film is better than that cartoon?
You know which cartoon I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay.
Not the 2003 one.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, I know. I thought you were talking about the 2002 series.
No, it's better than the New Adventures of He-Man, or Skeletor, the drag queen. So it ranks second in He-Man franchise.
God, if we didn't have to record 2 episodes of Tooncast after finishing this, I would so break out my He-Man DVDs and watch that cartoon again right now, just to get some real nostalgia. Because this just doesn't.
I guess it had a decent storyline.
No.
some action, but...
It had action, but it had Star Wars action. Basically, Skeletor is the Emperor. Gwildolf or Gwildweed or Gwildweeb is Yoda. He-Man is a combination between Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. I'm telling you, if you replaced every single sword or staff in this film with lightsabers, it's He-Man with Star Wars.
You could have Man-at-Arms as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Blade as Boba Fett.
Nah.
Tila can be Leia.
Oh, God. I would much rather have Carrie Fisher over whoever the hell played Tila.
The only character you're not going to be able to recast is Eva Lynn. All the other ones I think you can get away with putting someone else in there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I don't know, there's something about it that I still like, even though I will admit it's a very crappy movie.
I'm almost sad I paid $6 for this thing now.
I don't hate it as much as you do. Any 80s cartoon or He-Man fan should own the DVD, though.
Right. No, I know, but it's just one of those things where, honestly, when I was doing my little recap before we started recording this episode, I honestly had to start skipping scenes because oh my God, it was just so free. I had to skip the whole scene where Gwildor is mooing at the fucking cow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or when he comes out in drag in that one scene.
Don't remind me. Stop it. Stop it.
How about when he shoots water out of his ears?
Oh God. Like a little fucking dog. Oh my God. This just does not do Masters of the Universe or He-Man universe, whatever, justice whatsoever. It just doesn't. The only thing to the actual, Mattel toys and cartoon series that does justice is Skeletor.
I think Man-at-Arms too.
Yeah, he was okay, but...
He looked like him.
Yeah, he looked like him, barely. He was much skinnier.
Yeah. Other than that, though, I agree to a certain point, but I still like Blade.
No. Just... Made-up characters don't fucking count. Okay, so, we have anything else we want to bring up or pimp out or anything before I go into the closing?
No.
Thank you for joining us here on M-Wire Movie Week in Review. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. Join the forums, PredaconEmpire.com/Nexus. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. GCRN M-Wire is that Twitter name. Mine is TFG1 Mike. What is your Twitter?
Boss K Dog.
Become a fan on Facebook. Search Geekcast Radio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of M-Wire and wish you'll join us next time when Steve Megatron will be back and we will be reviewing the Ace Ventura films. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with
Optimus Solo.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.
No! You will no longer stand between me and my destiny!
But I will. I told you it was always between us.
Oh, I ache to smash you out of existence. To drive your cursed face from my memory forever! Yes! Let this be our final battle! We did it! He-Man! Victory!
Victory!
victory.
Well, Lubick, look at you. So you're really gonna stay here, huh?
What, are you kidding? What am I gonna go back there for? And look what I got here. I got a castle. I got a view. I got clean air. I got a beautiful woman. Huh? Some kind of retirement, huh?
Julie, keep this with you, and Eternia will always be near. Thank you.
I guess this is really goodbye, huh?
He-Man, Tila, Man at Arms, don't say goodbye. Say good journey.
In a world, there, I said it, happy,